Stigma is a heavy word. It is a word full of judgment and fear. When we talk about stigma, we are talking about a mark of shame. It is a label that society puts on people for something they do not understand. For people living with HIV, this stigma is a heavy burden to carry every single day. It is not just a feeling. It is a real force that can close doors and build walls. It can make someone feel completely alone in a world full of people. This feeling of isolation is one of the deepest pains a human being can experience. It whispers that you are different, that you are less than, and that you must hide your truth to be accepted. This heavy weight of stigma does so much harm. It hurts people on the inside, in their hearts and in their minds. It can lead to feelings of shame, anxiety, and depression. People start to believe the unkind things that others think. They might feel like they are not worthy of love or respect. This is a terrible lie that stigma tells. But the harm goes beyond feelings. It can stop people from seeking the medical care they need. They may be afraid a doctor or nurse will judge them. They may worry that someone in their town will find out. This fear can be so strong that it stops them from getting life-saving medicine and support. Imagine carrying a secret that you feel you can never share. A secret that you believe would make people turn away from you. This is the reality for so many people living with HIV. They go to work, they see their friends, they are part of our communities. But they are often silent about this one part of their lives. This silence is not because they want to be dishonest. It is because the stigma has taught them that being open is dangerous. It has taught them that their truth could cost them their job, their home, or their relationships. So they carry this weight alone, building walls around their hearts to protect themselves. We must understand that this stigma is born from a lack of knowledge. It grows in the darkness of misunderstanding and old fears. For many years, people did not understand HIV. They were afraid of things they did not know. But today, we have so much information. We know that with proper treatment, people with HIV can live long, healthy, and happy lives. We know they can have families and follow their dreams. The science has moved forward, but sometimes our hearts and minds get left behind. It is our job to help them catch up. We must choose to replace fear with facts and judgment with compassion. Everyone needs a place where they can just breathe, a place where they can take off the mask they wear for the world and just be themselves. This is what a safe space is. It is a sanctuary. It is a place, either online or in person, where you know you will not be judged. It is a place where you can speak your truth without fear of being hurt or misunderstood. For people living with HIV who so often face judgment, these safe spaces are not just nice to have. They are absolutely essential for healing. They are like a garden where a person's spirit can finally get the water and sunlight it needs to grow strong again. In these healing spaces, something magical happens. People begin to share their stories. At first, it might be a small detail, a quiet whisper of a feeling. But when that whisper is met with kindness and understanding, it grows louder. Someone else might say, "I have felt that way too." In that moment, the heavy feeling of being alone starts to lift. A connection is made. This sharing is so powerful because it breaks the silence that stigma creates. It shows people that their experiences are valid. It reminds them that they are part of a community of people who truly understand what they are going through on a deep and personal level. Think of it like this. When you hold a painful memory inside, it can feel like a sharp stone in your heart. You carry it everywhere. But when you are in a safe space and you can talk about it, you are gently taking that stone out. You are showing it to others who have stones of their own. They understand its shape and its weight. They do not run away from it. Instead, they sit with you and share the load. This process of sharing helps to heal the wounds that stigma has left behind. It is the first step toward letting go of the shame and starting to see yourself with love and kindness once again. Creating these spaces is an act of deep compassion. It is saying to someone, "Your story matters. You matter." Whether it is a support group in a community center or a private online forum, the goal is the same. It is to build a circle of trust. Within that circle, people can be vulnerable. They can cry, they can laugh, they can ask tough questions, and they can share their greatest hopes. This is where the real healing begins. It is where people find the strength not just to live with HIV, but to thrive. They learn that their diagnosis is a part of their story, but it does not define their entire life. Words are powerful, but when you add a face, a voice, and a real human story, that power grows 100 times stronger. This is the magic of multimedia storytelling. It is using tools like videos, podcasts, and personal blogs to share experiences. It is one thing to read a fact about HIV on a piece of paper. It is another thing entirely to see a person's eyes light up as they talk about their dreams. It is different when you hear the strength in their voice as they share their journey of acceptance. These real stories are what change hearts and minds. They turn a statistic into a person, a neighbor, a friend. When a person living with HIV decides to share their story through a video or a blog, they are doing something incredibly brave. They are stepping out of the shadows. They are saying, "Here I am, this is my life." This act of courage has a ripple effect. It reaches people all over the world. Someone who is recently diagnosed and feeling lost might find one of these stories online. Suddenly, they see someone who is living a full life. They see someone who is not hiding. This gives them hope. It shows them that a positive diagnosis is not the end of their story. It is just the beginning of a new chapter. Multimedia allows for so many different ways to tell a story. Some people might feel comfortable on camera, sharing their journey in a documentary-style video. Others might prefer to write, pouring their heart out in a blog where they can carefully choose their words. And some might find their voice in a podcast, where the intimacy of just their voice can create a powerful connection with the listener. Each of these forms allows the storyteller to be in control. They get to decide what to share and how to share it. This control is so important because it helps them reclaim their own narrative from the grip of stigma. These stories do more than just inspire other people living with HIV. They also educate the public. They help to break down the old, fearful ideas that so many people still hold. When you listen to someone's story, you begin to see the world through their eyes. You feel their triumphs and their challenges. You connect with them on a human level. This connection builds empathy, and empathy is the greatest enemy of stigma. It is impossible to judge someone when you have walked a mile in their shoes, even if it is just through listening to their story for a few minutes. Multimedia builds that bridge of understanding. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person. It is one of the most beautiful qualities of the human spirit. It is the glue that connects us all. When we talk about supporting people living with HIV, empathy is not just a nice idea. It is a powerful tool for healing. When someone shares their story of living with HIV and we listen with an open heart, we are giving them a precious gift. We are telling them, "I hear you, I see you, your feelings are valid." This simple act of compassionate listening can be life-changing. It can make someone who felt invisible feel seen for the first time in a long time. The support of the public, of friends, family, and even strangers can change the entire course of a person's journey with HIV. Imagine the difference between telling someone your status and being met with fear versus being met with a hug. Imagine the difference between being met with judgment versus being met with the words, "Thank you for trusting me with this. How can I support you?" This support creates a safety net. It lets people know that they will not fall. It gives them the courage to face medical appointments, to start treatment, and to believe in a bright future. Public support turns a lonely journey into a shared one. So how do we build this empathy? It starts with education. We must be willing to learn the facts about HIV. We need to understand how it is transmitted and how it is not. We need to learn that people on effective treatment cannot pass the virus on. This knowledge is the foundation. It removes the irrational fear that so often stands in the way of compassion. Once the fear is gone, our hearts are free to open. We can then listen to the stories of people living with HIV not as cautionary tales, but as stories of human resilience, strength, and hope. This shift from fear to empathy has the power to transform our society. It can change workplaces, schools, and communities. An employer who understands HIV will not fire someone because of their status. A teacher who is empathetic will create a classroom where all children feel safe. A friend who is supportive will stand by you no matter what. Every single one of us has a role to play. We can choose to be a source of comfort instead of a source of pain. We can choose to ask questions with kindness. We can choose to challenge stigma whenever we see it. This is how we build a world where everyone, regardless of their HIV status, feels supported. For a long time, the story of HIV was told by others. It was told by news reports, by scary headlines, and by whispers full of misinformation. These stories often painted a picture of fear and shame. They took away the power and the voice of the very people who were living the experience. But something incredible happens when a person living with HIV decides to speak their own truth. They take back the pen. They become the author of their own story. This act of speaking out, of sharing their personal journey in their own words, is an act of reclaiming power. It is a declaration that says, I will define myself. Stigma will not define me. When a person shares their story, they are not just talking about a virus. They are talking about their life. They are sharing their hopes, their fears, their triumphs, and their moments of grace. They are showing the world that they are a whole person. They are a parent, an artist, a teacher, a friend. Their HIV status is just one part of their complex and beautiful life. This helps to break down the one-dimensional stereotype that stigma creates. It replaces the label of victim with the reality of a strong, resilient human being who is navigating a health condition with courage and dignity. This process of reclaiming the narrative is deeply empowering. It can transform a person's relationship with themselves. The shame that may have lived in the silence begins to fade when it is brought into the light of day. Speaking the truth can feel like setting a heavy weight down. It builds self-esteem and confidence. It reminds the person of their own strength. They realize that their story has value and that it can help others. This sense of purpose can be a powerful force for positive change in their own life. They are no longer hiding a part of themselves. They are standing tall in their full, authentic truth. This empowerment then radiates outward. When one person speaks up, it gives another person the courage to do the same. It creates a chorus of voices that becomes too loud for stigma to ignore. This collective power can change policies, improve healthcare access, and transform public attitudes. It all starts with one person making the brave choice to speak. By reclaiming their stories, people living with HIV are not just healing themselves, they are healing the world around them. They are teaching us all a profound lesson about courage, authenticity, and the unbreakable power of the human spirit to rise. A digital safe space is more than just a website or an app. It is a community. It is a circle of trust built by people who share a common journey. Inside this circle, the usual rules of the outside world do not apply. There is no judgment, only acceptance. There is no shame, only understanding. The foundation of this community is a shared promise to respect one another. Every story is honored and every feeling is validated. This sense of trust is the most important ingredient. It is what allows people to lower their defenses and be truly vulnerable, which is where real connection and healing can begin. In this digital space, members can connect in so many ways. There might be forums where people can post questions about treatment or share their feelings about a difficult day. There could be live chat groups where people can talk in real time, offering instant support and encouragement. There might be private messaging features that allow two people to build a deeper one-on-one friendship. The key is to offer different options so that everyone can participate in a way that feels comfortable for them. Some people may be ready to share openly, while others may prefer to listen and learn for a while. Both are equally welcome. The conversations that happen within this circle of trust are incredibly rich and supportive. Someone might post about feeling anxious about telling their family their status. Within minutes, others will reply with their own experiences and words of encouragement. They might offer practical advice on how to start the conversation. Someone else might share a joyful milestone, like a great report from their doctor. The community will celebrate with them, sharing in their happiness. This is what community is all about, sharing the burdens and multiplying the joys. It reminds everyone that they are not walking this path alone. Building and maintaining this trust requires clear guidelines and active moderation. The rules of the community must be simple and centered on respect. There must be zero tolerance for negativity, judgment, or discrimination of any kind. This ensures that the space remains safe for everyone. The role of moderators is to gently guide conversations and make sure everyone feels protected. When people know that the space is being carefully looked after, they feel more secure. They can relax and open their hearts, knowing that they are in a place where they will be treated with the kindness and dignity they deserve. A digital safe space is a powerful starting point, but its impact does not have to end when the screen turns off. The confidence and support that people find online can become a bridge to a fuller life in the real world. When someone has been surrounded by acceptance in a digital community, they start to believe that they deserve that same acceptance everywhere. This newfound self-worth can give them the courage to take new steps. They might feel strong enough to have an honest conversation with a friend or family member. They might find the confidence to pursue a new job or a new hobby that they were too afraid to try before. The connections made online can also lead to real-world friendships and support networks. People who live in the same city or region might decide to meet in person for coffee. These meetups can deepen the bonds formed online, creating a local circle of friends who truly understand each other. This local community can become a vital source of support. They can go to doctor's appointments together, celebrate birthdays, and be there for each other during tough times. The digital space acts as the connector, bringing people together who might have otherwise never found one another, and helping them build a tangible, real-life support system. The empowerment gained in a safe space can also inspire people to become advocates. After finding their own voice, many people feel a strong desire to help others. They might start by sharing their story more publicly. They could volunteer for a local HIV organization, speak at community events, or work to educate others about stigma. They take the strength they have built and use it to make the world a better place for the next person on this journey. They become living proof that a life with HIV can be a life of purpose, passion, and positive impact. The safe space becomes a training ground for future leaders and changemakers. Ultimately, the goal is to make the entire world a safe space. The lessons of empathy, respect, and understanding learned in the digital community should be things we practice everywhere. The support found online should be reflected in our schools, our workplaces, and our neighborhoods. The digital safe space shows us what is possible. It gives us a model for a kinder, more compassionate world. It is our job to take that model and build it in our own communities. We can take the spirit of the safe space and carry it with us, helping to break down the walls of stigma one conversation, one act of kindness at a time. Empowerment is like a stone dropped into a calm lake. The first ripple is small, starting with just one person. This is the person who finds a safe space and for the first time feels heard and understood. They begin to let go of their shame and build their self-worth. They start to see themselves not as a diagnosis but as a whole and valuable human being. This internal shift is the first most important ripple. It is a quiet revolution that happens within one person's heart. They find the strength to manage their health, to dream again, and to believe in their own future. This personal transformation is where all the magic begins. That first ripple then spreads outward. The empowered person, now full of new confidence, begins to affect the people closest to them. They might have an open and honest conversation with their partner or a best friend. This honesty can deepen their relationships, replacing fear with trust and understanding. Their family might see them living a happy, healthy life, which challenges any old, incorrect ideas they may have had about HIV. This second ripple changes the immediate circle around the person. It educates their loved ones and invites them to become allies. It shows them that love and support are more powerful than any virus. The ripples continue to expand, moving out into the wider community. A person who has found their voice may decide to share their story on a larger platform. They might speak at a local school, a place of worship, or a community meeting. When they speak, they are no longer just one person. They are a voice for many. Their story puts a human face on HIV, breaking down stereotypes and building empathy among people who may have never knowingly met someone living with the virus. This third ripple has the power to change public perception. It plants seeds of understanding and compassion throughout the community. This is how true social change happens. It does not happen all at once. It happens one person, one story, one conversation at a time. The courage of one individual creates a ripple that touches another, who then creates their own ripple, and so on. A digital safe space can be the starting point for thousands of these ripples. It is a place where people can find the strength to be that first stone dropped in the water. By empowering individuals, we are empowering families. By empowering families, we are empowering communities. And by empowering communities, we are slowly but surely creating a world that is more just, more loving, and more accepting for everyone. We have talked about the journey of people living with HIV. We have talked about their courage and their resilience. We have seen how important it is for them to have a safe place to heal and find their voice. But this journey is not one they should have to walk alone. The responsibility for breaking the silence and ending stigma does not belong only to them. It belongs to all of us. Every single one of us has a part to play in creating a kinder and more inclusive society. The world we want to live in is a world we must build together, with our hands, our words, and our hearts. Our first responsibility is to educate ourselves. We must seek out the facts about HIV from reliable sources, learn how it is transmitted, and, just as importantly, how it is not. Understand that a person with an undetectable viral load cannot transmit HIV to their partners. Let this knowledge replace any fear or prejudice you might hold. Fear grows in the dark, but it withers in the light of truth. When we are armed with facts, we can confidently stand up against misinformation and challenge the stereotypes that cause so much pain. Education is our most powerful weapon in the fight against stigma. Next, we must practice empathy in our daily lives. This means listening with an open heart. It means choosing our words carefully. It means offering support instead of judgment. If someone trusts you enough to share their HIV status with you, receive that information as the sacred gift that it is. Thank them for their trust. Ask them what they need. A simple act of kindness, a non-judgmental conversation, or a warm hug can make a world of difference. We must consciously choose to be a safe harbor for people, a place where they know they will find acceptance and love, not rejection. Finally, we must use our own voices to be allies. When you hear someone make a joke or a stigmatizing comment about HIV, speak up. You do not have to be confrontational. You can simply and calmly say, "That's not really accurate and it's hurtful." By speaking up, you are sending a clear message that stigma is not acceptable. You are helping to create a community standard of respect. We all have a sphere of influence, whether it is with our family, our friends, or our colleagues. Let us use that influence for good. Let us work together to build a world where everyone is treated with dignity, where every person feels safe, and where every heart has a place to heal.